Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another journey into the golden age of entertainment. Tonight, we're diving deep into the extraordinary life of one of America's most beloved icons, a man who turned poverty into punchlines, struggle into stardom, and brought laughter to millions, even in the darkest hours of war.
Do you remember the nights we had to linger in the hall to rent this little nest and get a bit of rest? But here we are, just about the same, drowsy little dame, too much in love to say goodnight.
This is the full, unvarnished story of Bob Hope. From the foggy streets of London to the battlefields of the world, from vaudeville stages to Hollywood glory, and the private man behind the public smile. If you're enjoying these in-depth stories of the legends who shaped classic entertainment, please do hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to bring you more heartfelt biographies like this one. Thank you. Now, let's step back in time. Born Leslie Townes Hope on May 29, 1903, in Eltham, a working-class suburb of southeast London, England. He was the fifth of 7 sons to William Henry Hope, a stonemason from Somerset who struggled to make ends meet and battled with alcoholism, and Avis Townes Hope, a former light opera singer from Wales who later worked as a cleaner to help support the family. Life was tough. Money was scarce, and the family scraped by in a modest terraced house at 44 Craigton Road in Well Hall. When young Leslie was just 4 years old, his father, William, sailed ahead across the Atlantic in search of a better life, eventually settling in the gritty industrial city of Cleveland, Ohio. A year later, in 1908, the rest of the family followed, 7 little boys and their mother stepping off the SS Philadelphia at Ellis Island, wide-eyed and full of hope, into a brand new world that promised opportunity but delivered plenty of hardship. Leslie still carried that soft British accent, and the neighborhood kids wasted no time teasing him. They even twisted his name into Hopeless, a nickname that stung more than any schoolyard punch. Money was always tight. His father's work as a stonemason came and went, and his mother, Avis, quietly took in boarders just to keep food on the table and the rent paid. Young Leslie dropped out of school around 16, but those early years left a mark he never forgot. Yet even in the middle of all that struggle, a bright spark of performance was already burning inside him. From the age of 12, he was out on the streets of Cleveland earning his own pocket money, singing, dancing, cracking jokes on busy boardwalks, hopping onto trolleys headed to Luna Park, and charming strangers in amateur talent contests. At just 10 years old, he entered a local contest impersonating the great Charlie Chaplin, and he won. That little victory lit a fire that would never go out. As a teenager, he even tried his hand at amateur boxing under the tough-sounding ring name Packy East. He stepped into the ring a few times, landed some punches, took a few beatings, and quickly learned that the boxing gloves weren't his future. After that came a string of ordinary jobs: soda jerk, shoe salesman, newspaper boy, but none of them could compete with the pull of the stage. Deep down, Bob already knew. Show business wasn't just a dream, it was calling him home. By his late teens, Bob, he officially changed his first name from Leslie to Lester, then settled on Bob around 1928, was hustling on the vaudeville circuit as a song and dance man. It was a brutal grind. Endless one-night stands in smoky theaters, tough crowds who wouldn't hesitate to boo, long train rides between small towns, and constant rejection. He teamed up with partners like George Byrne and learned to sharpen his timing, read audiences, and fire off those quick-witted one-liners that would later define his style. His breakthrough on the big stage came in 1927 with a small role in the Broadway show Sidewalks of New York. A few years later, in 1933, he landed a solid supporting role as Huckleberry Haynes in the Jerome Kern musical Roberta, a prestigious engagement that introduced the classic song Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. Other Broadway shows followed, including Ballyhoo of 1932, Say When, The Ziegfeld Follies of 1936, and Red, Hot and Blue, alongside Ethel Merman and Jimmy Durante. But Hollywood initially rejected him. His first screen test flopped. The big break finally arrived in 1938. Bob made his feature film debut in The Big Broadcast of 1938, where he introduced his forever signature song, Thanks for the Memory, a duet with Shirley Ross that became his theme for life. That same year, he launched The Bob Hope Show on radio, where his rapid-fire delivery, topical jokes, and charm made him a national sensation. Success snowballed. The Big Broadcast of 1938.
Thanks for the memory of rainy afternoons, swingy Harlem tunes, motor trips and burning lips and burning toast and prunes. How lovely it was. Oh, well, it was swell while it lasted. We did have fun and no harm done. So thanks for the memory.
Bob Hope was fifth billed behind W.C. Fields, Martha Raye, and Dorothy Lamour. He played Buzz Fielding, a radio singer on a transatlantic yacht race. The script was nonsense, but Hope did something radical. He looked at the camera and shared his anxiety with the audience. Director Mitchell Lyson hated it. Audiences loved it. Hope kept doing it for 50 years. Thanks for the Memory was written as a bitter breakup ballad. The original lyric included burning toast and prunes. Hope read it and said, "No one will remember the tune, but they'll remember the prunes." He was wrong about the prunes. The melody became immortal. The song won the Academy Award for Best Original Song in 1938. Hope showed up drunk. He had just come from a radio broadcast and stopped at a bar. Shirley Ross refused to sing with him until he sobered up. The producer made him drink black coffee for an hour. That first take after the coffee is the one in the film. Hope had a cold during filming. He held a white handkerchief during the song as a prop. He kept that habit for the rest of his life. Watch any Bob Hope performance of Thanks for the Memory from 1938 to 1995. The handkerchief is always in his left hand. Hope performed this song at every USO show, every television special, and every birthday tribute for 57 years. He changed the lyrics constantly. The Big Broadcast of 1938 is a disjointed mess. But its 5 minutes of Bob Hope are the most important 5 minutes of his career. Without that song, there is no signature. Without that handkerchief, there is no man. Trivia. Hope ad-libbed his wisecracks during musical numbers. Director Mitchell Lyson was furious, but the test audiences loved the mistakes, so they kept them. Variety called it a lavish hodgepodge, noting that Hope makes a distinct impression as a comedy find. College Swing, 1938.
How'd you like to love me? There's an ocean. How'd you like a cottage? By the ocean, I could let my hair down and you could let your cold cream shine. How'd you like it? As for me, I'd like it fine.
Take a letter. How'd you like to love me?
Does she mean it?
How'd you like to kiss me?
What a racket.
This film came out just 6 months after The Big Broadcast of 1938. Hope had already signed his 7-year Paramount contract, but he was still the new guy. College Swing was designed as a vehicle for Gracie Allen, the beloved illogical half of Burns and Allen. Paramount wanted to capitalize on her recent presidential campaign stunt. She ran for president as the surprise party candidate. Hope was supposed to be supporting cast. He refused to stay in his lane. Hope plays Buddy, a janitor at a failing college who is forced to impersonate a student to help his girlfriend, Allen, pass her finals. The role is paper thin. Janitor, fake student, love interest's punching bag. But Hope turned it into a showcase for speed. His rapid-fire patter routine was not scripted. He walked onto the set, looked at the dialogue, and said to director Raoul Walsh, "This is too slow. Let me try something." Walsh, a tough action director, later White Heat, The Roaring Twenties, shrugged and said, "You've got one take." Hope then delivered a 2-minute monologue about algebra, fraternity hazing, and the price of cafeteria meatloaf, all in one breath, all while looking at the camera every 15 seconds. The crew laughed so hard the boom mic shook. Walsh printed it. The script was rewritten overnight to include more of Hope's ad-libs. The trivia. Hope and Ray hated each other. They refused to look at one another between takes, yet their comedic hostility on screen is electric. Critic note. The New York Times said, "Bob Hope is the only thing standing between this film and total disaster." The Cat and the Canary, 1939.
Hey! I'm not really frightened, I'm just naturally nervous. Eating in restaurants all the time, up half the night playing Chinese checkers. Besides, this is my first sea voyage. You seem like the jolly type, Clarence. Do you like jokes?
This is the single most important film of Bob Hope's early career. Not the big broadcast, not College Swing. This one. Because here, for the first time, the Bob Hope persona fully clicks into place. The coward who talks trash to hide his terror. His role. Wally Campbell. Hope plays a radio actor. Meta, he was one. Hired to be present for the reading of a millionaire's will in a dark, crumbling Louisiana mansion. The catch? If the rightful heir is insane, the fortune goes to Wally. So everyone tries to scare the heir to death. Wally spends the entire film convinced he is about to be murdered, and responds by making jokes about the wallpaper. The 1927 silent version was a straight horror classic, directed by Paul Lenny, starring Laura LaPlante. It had genuine scares. His genuine scream of terror was kept in the final print. Critic note. The Hollywood Reporter raved, "Hope manages to be both a complete coward and utterly charming. The laughs kill the scares perfectly." Road to Singapore, 1940.
Oh, where's he always going? Sees a pair of big brown eyes and he starts doing nip-ups. Give him a girl, a moon, and some stars and he goes haywire. In fact, just give him a girl.
I didn't know Josh was like that.
Oh, sure he is. I know him. I know how he works. And I'm the best friend he's got. Hey, what's cooking here? That's freewheeling. Well, pardon me.
No.
She wants to play.
No!
But I have to be courteous.
It is their marriage ceremony.
The Road series was never supposed to exist. Paramount wanted a vehicle for George Burns and Gracie Allen. When they passed, the studio threw Bob Hope and Bing Crosby together as a cost-cutting measure. They had leftover jungle sets from a failed Dorothy Lamour adventure film. The script was written in 2 weeks. The budget was $700,000, low for a Paramount feature. No one expected it to work. Hope's role, Ace Lanigan. Hope plays a fast-talking, ethically flexible con man who drags his best friend Josh, Crosby, into a fake marriage, a real fight with a tribal chief, and a romantic triangle with a dancer, Lamour. Ace is the engine of the plot. Every bad decision is his. Every escape is improvised. He is the id of the duo, greedy, scared, and shameless. Bing Crosby was the coolest man in America. Laid back, crooning, handsome, he did not try to be funny. That was the point. His deadpan reactions to Hope's panic made the panic funnier. Dorothy Lamour brought the sarong and the calm. She played the straight woman who occasionally joined the jokes. Without her, the road pictures are 2 men yelling. With her, they are a family. The real relationship between Hope and Crosby was the secret sauce. They genuinely liked each other, but they also competed constantly. Crosby had the better voice. Hope had the better timing. They kept score. Road to Singapore was shot entirely on Paramount's backlot in Los Angeles. No one went to Singapore. The exotic backgrounds were painted curtains left over from a 1932 film. Hope called them the same palm trees that betrayed me last year. Road to Zanzibar, 1941.
Oh, boy, I don't know how you ever Sven-Galley me into a deal like this. Took my mother 3 years to get me to eat spinach. 3 minutes of small talk from you, and I'm getting fan mail from casket companies. Well, I'm nervous. Hey, I'm shaking. Yeah, I was so nervous the bed is still shaking.
Oh, go to sleep, will you?
Oh, well, no wonder. Look, it's a snake.
A snake?
Yeah, a snake. A snake!
The second film replaced Lamour as the romantic lead. She still appears, but the plot focuses on a different woman. More importantly, the budget doubled. The jokes got faster, and Hope and Crosby started doing the "but you don't have to go" routine, where one pretends to sacrifice himself, the other pretends to refuse, and they both end up doing nothing. It became a series staple. Hope's role, Fearless Fraser. He plays a carnival pitchman stranded in Africa. The name says it all. He is not fearless. He is terrified of everything. But he talks like a safari hero. The gap between his words and his actions is the entire joke. Critic note: Newsweek wrote, "Hope steals the picture with a sneaky, back-alley wit that plays perfectly against Crosby's crooning nonchalance." The New York Times: "The 2 men have the timing of a vaudeville team that has been working together for decades. They have been working together for 6 months." The Ghost Breakers, 1940.
Courage, Camille.
This is Hope's true horror comedy masterpiece. The Cat and the Canary invented the formula. The Ghost Breakers perfected it. Better budget, better scares, and Paulette Goddard. Hope plays Larry Lawrence, a radio broadcaster on the run who hides out in a haunted castle in Cuba. He is not a hero. He carries a gun he is afraid to fire and a flashlight with dead batteries. When a ghost appears, he does not fight it. He negotiates. Paulette Goddard plays Mary Carter, the woman who inherited the castle. She is not a damsel. She checks the hidden rooms herself and tells Larry to stop whimpering. The chemistry is white hot. They had worked together in The Cat and the Canary. This time, Goddard rewrote her own lines. Romantic and terrified in one breath. The horror is real. Director George Marshall hired a cinematographer who shot The Magnificent Amberson. The New Yorker stated, "A perfect vehicle for Mr. Hope, who handles the spectral goings-on with the assurance of a man who knows the audience is as scared as he is." Nothing But the Truth, 1941.
I tell you, there are certain necessary lies.
A man can get along just as well by telling the absolute truth.
You mean about everything?
Yes.
All the time?
Sure.
What are you playing? Truth and consequences?
You'll bet me money, real money, that I can't tell the truth for 24 hours?
That's what I said.
Any
mistakes.
You don't hear him naming it.
Hey, if he did it, I can. It's a bet.
All Americans right.
How much? Well, I'll bet you.
How much?
$10,000.
Hope plays Steve Bennett, a young stockbroker who is tired of the lies, flattery, and polite fictions that grease the wheels of high society. He makes a bet. $10,000 that he can go 24 hours telling nothing but the truth. No white lies, no social niceties, no, "I love your dress," when he hates it. Just brutal, unfiltered honesty. The film then watches him destroy every relationship, business deal, and romantic prospect in his life, one truthful sentence at a time. This is not a slapstick vehicle. It is a social satire dressed as a farce. The script, adapted from a 1914 play by Frederick Isham, asks a genuinely uncomfortable question. What would happen if we all stopped lying? The answer, according to Hope, is chaos, unemployment, and loneliness. He plays the character straight. No winking at the camera, no mugging for sympathy. Steve is a decent man who has made a stupid decision and cannot back down. Hope's genius is that he never makes Steve unlikable. The chemistry with Paulette Goddard, third time's the charm. This was their third film together. The Cat and the Canary, The Ghost Breakers, now this. The comfort level is visible. Goddard plays Gwen, a woman who initially hates Steve's honesty, then realizes he is the only man who has ever told her the truth. The trivia. The film is a remake of a 1929 Paramount talkie. Hope changed the script so much that only the title remained the same. Motion Picture Herald said, "Hope is at his motor-mouthed best. It's a one-joke premise, but the joke is a good one." The New York Times wrote, "Mr. Hope has found a role that fits him like a glove. He is not just telling jokes. He is dissecting a society built on polite lies. It is funnier and smarter than it has any right to be." My Favorite Blonde, 1942.
Hey, those spatsies, those nasties, they're here. Now, you see? You'll never get it. Now, you come near me now, I'll swallow it. That's what I'll do, I'll swallow it. I'll scuttle myself. Oh, you think I won't, huh? You take one more step and I'll... There. I did it.
Carl, you have 2 minutes to get that scorpion. The stomach is about an inch under the lower middle.
So you think you're fooling around with a sap? Oh, well, I'm set for you. This is a hand grenade. You come near me and I'll pull this pin and we'll have red polka-dot wallpaper. Let go of her. Let's get out of here before my knees beat each other to death. Now, stop it! Don't make a move, none of you.
Go ahead, my friend. Pull the pin.
Oh, you don't think I will, huh? I'll count 3 and there'll be nothing left but your pants buttons. 1, 2...
Go ahead.
1, 2...
You said that.
I did not. 1, 2...
4.
By 1942, America was at war. Spy thrillers were everywhere, grim, serious, patriotic. Paramount wanted a parody. They hired director Sidney Landfield. Hope's role, Larry Haynes. Larry is a small-time performer who travels with a penguin, stay with me, because his act involves the bird catching a fish out of his mouth. He is not ambitious. He is not brave. He is broke, lonely, and one bad booking away from sleeping in a bus station. When a British spy, Madeleine Carroll, hides a secret microfilm, Larry becomes the target of Nazi agents. His response is not heroism. This was the first time Hope played a character purely driven by cowardice. Trivia. The penguin was a nightmare to work with. It kept biting Hope. He threatened to turn it into a pair of slippers after the rap. Critic note. Variety wrote, Hope's ad-libs are so fast you need a net to catch them. The penguin is a scene stealer, but Hope keeps the top spot. The New York Times, 1942. Mr. Hope has finally found his perfect foil. A bird, a British spy, and his own abject terror. The penguin steals every scene, but Hope steals them back. Road to Morocco, 1942.
We're off on the road to Morocco. This taxi is tough on the spine.
Beats the bus, huh, Junior?
Beats me. Where we're going, why we're going, how can we be sure? I'll lay you 8 to 5 that we meet Dorothy Lamour. Off on the road to Morocco.
Critics agree. Fans agree. The cast agreed. Road to Morocco is the gold standard of the series. Hope's role, Turkey Jackson. He plays Orville Turkey Jackson, a man so unlucky that his nickname is a synonym for failure. He and his best friend Jeff, Crosby, are shipwrecked on the North African coast after their boat explodes. Jeff immediately tries to sell Turkey into slavery, not because he is evil, because he is hungry. That is the moral universe of Road to Morocco. Hunger justifies anything. Turkey is the most unhinged version of the Hope persona. He is not just cowardly, he is reckless. He volunteers for danger because he is too stupid to be afraid. He flirts with the princess, Lamour, who is literally holding a sword to his throat. The trivia. The "We're Off on the Road to Morocco" song was originally written as a tango. Hope hated it and insisted on the up-tempo, nonsensical version we know today. Awards. Nominated for Best Original Song, pennies for Peppino. Critic note. The New York Times called it the ultimate screwball travelogue. Hope and Crosby are the Laurel and Hardy of the wisecrack set. They got me covered. 1943. America was deep in World War II. Hollywood was churning out propaganda, thrillers, and patriotic musicals. The original plan? Reunite Hope with Paulette Goddard, his Ghostbreakers co-star. Then, Goddard fell down a flight of stairs 3 days before shooting. She broke her ankle. The studio scrambled. Dorothy Lamour stepped in. The script was rewritten overnight. Hope's role, Robert Kittredge. Hope plays a foreign correspondent who has been covering the war in Europe. He returns to Washington, D.C. with nothing but a hangover and a hunch that spies are everywhere. His boss thinks he is crazy. The police think he is drunk. The Nazis think he is dangerous. He is none of these things. He is a man who stumbled into the truth by accident and is now trying to convince anyone to listen. Kittredge is not a hero. He is a pest. He calls the FBI so many times that J. Edgar Hoover, played by an actor, not the real man, sends him a restraining order. This is not a lightweight farce. The film takes the war seriously between the jokes. The trivia. Director Otto Preminger appears as a sadistic Nazi agent. Preminger and Hope clashed constantly. Preminger wanted menace. Hope wanted laughs. Hope won. Variety wrote, "The pace is breakneck. The jokes are relentless. The propaganda is subtle enough to swallow. A solid wartime programmer that delivers exactly what it promises." Road to Utopia, 1945.
Boy, that guy burns me up, him and his 14 fish. You think there was no romance left? I think all the fella had to do was sit around and catch one little fish. One crummy fish.
Come on, let's go for a walk in the woods.
Oh, just a minute. I got more nibbles than I can handle.
Hey, Bud, where's your partner?
Oh, he just stepped into the cat. Huh?
Just tell him 15 was here.
Come on.
By 1945, the road formula was well oiled. 4 films in, Hope and Crosby could do these in their sleep. So they decided to wake up. Road to Utopia is the strangest entry in the series. Set during the Klondike Gold Rush, shot entirely on sound stages, Hope's role, Chester Hooton. He plays Chester, a small-time con man who, along with his partner Duke, Crosby, steals a map to a gold mine in Alaska. Chester is the brains of the operation, meaning he is slightly less stupid than Duke. He is greedy, impulsive, and convinced that every problem can be solved with a fast lie. When a bear chases them, Chester tries to sell it a fake map. When the villain, Robert Benchley, yes, the narrator, threatens to kill him, Chester tries to sell him a fake apology. This is Hope at his most unhinged. He is not playing a character. He is playing Bob Hope, playing a character who knows he is Bob Hope. The trivia. Because of World War II, the film was shot entirely on sound stages in 1944. The cast was on location for 0 days, but the outdoor backdrops are famously obvious. Time magazine wrote, "A triumph of nonsense over narrative." Variety wrote, "Hope steals the picture from the narrator, the plot, and even the bear. His timing is so precise that he lands jokes before the audience knows they are coming." My Favorite Brunette, 1947.
Young man, I want to thank you for saving my life.
Oh, it was nothing. And I did it. I knew I had it in me. Hey, maybe I was supposed to be a detective, huh? Yeah, that's it. Ronnie Jackson, the private eye.
Hope plays Ronnie Jackson, a baby photographer who pretends to be a private eye. He gets tangled with a real femme fatale, Dorothy Lamour, and a dangerous villain, Peter Lorre. The film ends with a classic cameo. Hope in a prison cell next to Bing Crosby, arguing about who the real Bob Hope is. The trivia. The cameo was shot at 5 a.m. after Crosby finished a radio show. They wrote the scene in 10 minutes. The Chicago Tribune said, "Lorre is terrifying. Hope is hilarious. It's a strange, wonderful mix." Road to Rio, 1947.
Let's live a little.
Forgiven?
Oh, naturally. Naturally. Oh, you have such a nice, smooth hand. Oh, but this one's even softer. And this one's softer, too. You have 3 of the nicest... 3 hands? 3... And this one's got hair on it. Aha, and it's got an ape on the end of it. Alone, huh? Who's this, your father?
You were never better, Junior. Great try.
Goodbye, sister, and don't write.
After a 3-year break, Hope and Crosby had been busy with solo films and USO tours. The Road series returned bigger and brassier. Road to Rio had a budget of $1.5 million, the largest yet. It introduced the Andrews Sisters, the biggest-selling female vocal group of the era, as a Greek chorus. And it gave Bob Hope his single greatest piece of physical comedy, Running on Water. Hope's role, Hot Lips Barton. He plays a small-time musician named Hot Lips Barton, a ridiculous nickname that Hope hated until he realized it gave him license to be ridiculous. Hot Lips is a fast-talking, fast-thinking con man who, along with his partner Scat Sweeney, Crosby, stows away on a ship bound for Rio. The plot involves a hypnotist, a missing heiress, and a marriage proposal that no one wants. Hot Lips is the instigator. Every bad idea is his. Every escape is botched. Every song is interrupted. But the real story is the relationship. In Road to Rio, Hope's character is genuinely protective of Crosby's. He tries to sacrifice himself 3 times. Each time, Crosby refuses. Then Hope admits he was only pretending. That push-pull, selfishness masking as selflessness, is the emotional core of the film. The trivia. The Andrews Sisters appear in this film. They had just recorded Rum and Coca-Cola and were the biggest act in the world. Hope was jealous of the attention they got. Variety declared, "The team hasn't lost a step. Hope is the engine. Crosby is the steering wheel." Sorrowful Jones, 1949.
You're in good shape.
Oh, very good shape.
First, I'm holding a hot kid the cops would love to find. Second, a gent was murdered with my marker in his pocket. Third, I'm in a racket not considered legal. Fourth, I'm mixed up in a questionable race. And here on my thumb, if I try to resign, a couple of my business associates would beat me to death with their pinkies.
I'm in good shape.
A remake of Little Miss Marker. Hope plays a cynical bookie forced to take care of a little girl. It was Hope's first non-comedy role. He still tells jokes, but the film has genuine pathos. Trivia. Hope hated the script. He only did it because Paramount threatened to suspend him. It became one of his biggest box office hits, proving he could act. The New York Times wrote, "Mr. Hope finally proves he has a heart behind the wisecrack." It is a touching performance. The Lemon Drop Kid, 1951.
Just good.
It's you. I thought it was a prowler.
A prowler? Fine thing. Here I am serenading the girl I love, and she thinks I'm a prowler.
Well, I heard some noise, but I didn't know it was singing.
Twinkle, twinkle, little... Uh-oh. Twinkle, twinkle, that's kid stuff. If you get carried away, don't hold yourself back, huh?
Kid.
Honey, don't ever lose me. It would ruin you.
After a decade of road pictures and haunted house spoofs, Hope needed a solo vehicle that proved he could carry a film without Bing Crosby. He found it in Damon Runyon's 1932 short story about a small-time racetrack grifter. Hope's character was already there, a fast-talking coward who sucked lemon drops and lived by his wits. Hope's role: Sidney Milburn, a.k.a. the Lemon Drop Kid. Hope plays Sidney Milburn, a New York City swindler who illegally touts horses at a Florida racetrack, always carrying a box of lemon drops. He earns his nickname because he is literally addicted to the candy. The kid is a con man through and through, self-interested, fast-talking, and always looking for an angle. When he accidentally gives a bad tip to the girlfriend of gangster Moose Moran, Fred Clark, Moose loses $10,000 and gives the kid until Christmas Eve to pay it back. Or else. This is not the typical Hope character. In the Road pictures, he played a lovable coward who usually did the right thing. Here, he plays a genuine heel. He cons old friends. He lies to his girlfriend. He creates a fake charity to line his own pockets. With any other actor, the kid would be smarmy and unlikable. But Hope adds the charm, charisma, and comedy needed to make a swindler sympathetic. Trivia. Silver Bells was written for this film. Hope introduced it, but he refused to sing the high harmony, so a studio singer dubbed the top part. It was nominated for Best Original Song, Silver Bells. The Hollywood Reporter called it dark, cynical, and hilarious. Hope is at his scheming best. Son of Paleface, 1952.
If they hang Junior Potter, they should be ashamed of themselves. For his sake, I hope he finds a lot of gold.
The way that mob's acting, he'll need it.
Look at that with the block and tackle. Why, they'll tear him limb from limb. Oh.
This whole thing makes me sick at my stomach.
Well, Junior'll be worse than sick at his stomach if he doesn't rush that gold out here. You hold him off. I'll go get him.
Gold! Thousands of gold dollars! Gold! Gold! I got gold! It's all there. Gold slippers, gold trinkets, my daddy's gold. Oh, I got gold rocks, gold stones, gallstones, gold gallstones. I'm rich. I got millions, I tell you.
Junior, steady, boy.
Yeah, I'm all right.
In Son of Paleface, Bob Hope played Junior Potter, a book-smart Harvard graduate who heads to the Wild West to claim his late father's gold mine. But instead of becoming a tough cowboy, he stumbles into chaos. The film paired him with legendary cowboy star Roy Rogers and his famous horse, Trigger, creating a hilarious mix of Western action and Hope's signature comedy. Packed with colorful visuals, absurd gags, and constant fourth-wall jokes, the film became one of his biggest comedy hits of the 1950s. Trivia. Trigger, Roy Rogers' horse, was billed above Jane Russell in the opening credits. Variety said, "It's a slapstick circus. The jokes are stupid, but Hope sells them like gold." Road to Bali, 1952.
An Oscar. Give me that. You got one. Friends, this is a great occasion, me receiving this Academy Award. And I'd like to say a word. Run! That's the word.
Then came Road to Bali, and this one made history. It was the only road movie filmed in full Technicolor, giving audiences a brighter, more extravagant version of the comedy franchise they already loved. In the film, Bob Hope and Bing Crosby play two carefree entertainers who end up on a wild adventure in Bali, where both men begin competing for the love of a beautiful princess played by Dorothy Lamour. As expected, their friendship quickly turns into hilarious rivalry. It was self-aware comedy decades before it became common, and audiences loved it. The trivia. Bob Hope insisted on wearing a toupee for the color film. Crosby mocked him relentlessly on set, calling him curly. The New York Times groaned. "It's the same old road, but the scenery looks nice in color." Casanova's Big Night. Unusual fast-talking modern character, Hope starred as Pippo Popolino, a shy, nervous tailor's apprentice in 18th century Italy, who sought to impersonate the famous Casanova. Pippo is thrown into royal drama, romance, sword fights, and chaotic misunderstandings, despite being completely unprepared for any of it. Sets and a big-budget historical feel. and that contrast made it funnier. Watching a timid, awkward man pretend to be history's most confident romantic hero created some of the film's best comedic moments. The trivia. Hope broke his ankle during the first week of filming. The script was rewritten so that Peepo has a limp for the rest of the movie. The Los Angeles Times wrote, "Better than it has any right to be." The Seven Little Foys, 1955.
I laid a pretty big egg in this fatherhood racket. I only tried it because I knew their mother would want me to. I owed her that much. Judge, I don't know anything but show business. I've been on the stage all my life. I didn't think there was anything wrong in wanting my kids up there with me. If I was a carpenter, I could bring them up as carpenters. Nobody dragged me into court. Maybe your father was a judge. This is all I know. I'm a song and dance man. I guess it's not much, but I would have liked it if a couple of my kids had wanted to stay in the business.
In this biographical drama, Hope stepped away from his usual sarcastic comedy persona to portray legendary vaudeville star Eddie Foy. The film follows Foy's life as a successful performer whose world changes after personal tragedy leaves him raising 7 children on his own. Instead of giving up his career, he trains his children to perform alongside him on stage, creating the famous act known as the Seven Little Foys. Hope brought warmth, humor, and surprising emotional depth to the role, portraying Foy as both a demanding performer and a deeply devoted father. The performance earned Hope one of the biggest critical praises of his career, and his only competitive nomination at the Golden Globe Awards level, while many believed it deserved even greater awards recognition. James Cagney appears as George M. Cohan. The two recreate a dance routine from their vaudeville days. It is electric. Trivia. Hope invited Eddie Foy Jr., who plays his own father in the film, to be on set to verify the accuracy. The New York Times said, "Hope gives the performance of his life. It is warm, witty, and wonderful." Beau James, 1957.
I can do better than that. I never knew how much I wanted this job until this minute. My eternal gratitude to the people of New York for making me the 100th mayor of not the biggest city in the world, but the only city in the world. Hold it. Just a minute, Jack. Picture isn't complete. If it weren't for you, I'd be standing out in the street demanding a recount. Assassinated the first day in office.
Hope plays Jimmy Walker, the flamboyant, corrupt mayor of 1920s New York City. It is a semi-biographical drama with comedic beats. It flopped. The trivia. Hope wore his own clothes for the role. He refused to wear period-accurate 1920s suits because I look silly in a high collar. Variety wrote, "Hope is trying too hard to be respectable. We want the schnoz, not the statesman." Alias Jesse James, 1959.
Watch my trigger finger. It was one of my shorter battles, but I don't want to take all the credit. Here's the gal right here. She helped load my guns. It was nothing at all. If I've done anything to restore law and order to this community, I just want to tell you that I've been amply rewarded. And I mean amply.
Then, in Alias Jesse James, Bob Hope returned to Western comedy with one of his most underrated late-career hits. He played Milford Farnsworth, an ordinary insurance salesman who accidentally gets assigned to protect the infamous outlaw Jesse James, only to discover that this version of Jesse is far more cowardly than dangerous. As chaos unfolds, Hope's nervous salesman is dragged into gunfights, outlaws, and classic Western madness. The film's biggest surprise comes in its finale, a massive shootout packed with fun celebrity cameos from Roy Rogers, Gary Cooper, and Bing Crosby, making it a memorable farewell to Hope's big-screen Western comedies. Trivia. The cameos were shot on different days. Cooper agreed to do it for a bottle of whiskey. Critic note. The Los Angeles Mirror called it a bloated, hilarious mess. The Facts of Life, 1960.
Nobody's holding a gun to your head.
Well, don't be absurd. If you leave Jack, of course I'll leave Mary. After all, I'm in this as deep as you are. No, I didn't mean that. I meant that, after all, we're adults and we made our bed and we lie in it.
Well, that's not a very nice way to put it.
Well, you know what I mean. We'll just face the music together.
Hope and Lucille Ball play middle-aged neighbors having an affair. It is sophisticated, cynical, and surprisingly adult. Directed by Melvin Frank. The trivia. Ball and Hope despised each other. She found his timing lazy. He found her bossy. Their hatred created the perfect tension of two people stuck in a boring marriage. Awards. Nominated for Best Original Screenplay. The New York Times raved, "The funniest, most painful look at adultery ever put on screen. Ball and Hope are brilliant." Bachelor in Paradise, 1961.
It's your reputation, Jack. Everybody thinks that...
Thinks what?
Well, that you're having affairs with all of us. Me, Camille, Dolores, Rosemary.
Really? That should qualify me for the Olympic team.
Don't joke about it. They've written everything down.
Well, good. We'll make an Italian movie out of it.
They even sent in that petition
What petition?
to Tom Jensen to have you evicted, only Rosemary wouldn't do it.
Are you sure about this, Linda?
Positive.
Then came Bachelor in Paradise, where Bob Hope stepped into the changing culture of the 1960s. He played a carefree bachelor and best-selling author who moves into a futuristic automated home filled with high-tech gadgets, something audiences found both hilarious and futuristic at the time. But his quiet life quickly turns chaotic when he becomes surrounded by curious suburban women, leading to gossip, romance, and non-stop misunderstandings. The film captured the changing attitudes of the early 1960s toward relationships and modern lifestyles, while still delivering Hope's signature comedy style. The trivia. The automated house was a set that cost $250,000, massive for the time. Hope walked through it once and said, "Nice refrigerator." Variety wrote, "Hope is getting too old for the Playboy role, but he knows it, and the self-deprecation saves the movie." Now, behind the laughter and the legend was a more complicated private life. Publicly, Bob Hope presented himself as the ultimate devoted family man, the charming, golf-loving entertainer who brought joy to millions and stood as a symbol of wholesome American values. He and his wife Dolores built a beautiful home in Toluca Lake, raised 4 adopted children together, and appeared every bit the picture of a rock-solid Hollywood marriage that lasted an astonishing 69 years. The deception started before the vows. Bob and Dolores always claimed they married in Erie, Pennsylvania in February 1934. Zoglin found no marriage license, no wedding photo, nothing. The reason, he discovered, is that Bob was already married at the time to his vaudeville partner, Grace Troxell, also known as Louise, in a ceremony in January 1933. The divorce from Troxell was finalized in November 1934, meaning that for nearly 10 months, Bob Hope was technically a bigamist, or simply lying about the date. Hope's publicists denied the first marriage for decades, but Zoglin confirmed that Hope quietly sent her money until her death in 1976. Privately, as detailed in Richard Zoglin's thorough biography, Hope, entertainer of the century, Bob struggled deeply with fidelity. He was a notorious womanizer who enjoyed the temptations that came with stardom. Countless one-night stands with showgirls, beauty queens, aspiring actresses, and chorus girls who waited outside his dressing room or hotel suite. In the early days of his rise, he and his longtime friend and co-star, Bing Crosby, were even known to trade casual girlfriends, introducing each other to women they thought were particularly appealing. It was part of that fast-living show business world where fame opened doors that were hard to resist. Some of these encounters were brief flings. In the late 1940s, during a March of Dimes charity tour, Bob reportedly had a short romantic involvement with the wholesome singer and future screen star, Doris Day. He later confided to a friend that when they returned home, Dolores was waiting at the airport with a very public, territorial hug. And according to Bob, that moment ended things with Doris right there. He even had a less-than-gallant private nickname for her, JT, short for a rather crude reference to her figure. Doris Day herself never publicly confirmed or commented on the story. There were rumored encounters with other big names too, including Lucille Ball. But several affairs ran much deeper and longer. In 1949, he became involved with blonde actress Barbara Payton, a striking femme fatale known for film noirs like Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye. The relationship lasted several months. Bob reportedly set her up in a furnished Hollywood apartment so he could visit discreetly. When it ended, he paid her off to keep quiet, though she later sold her story anyway to a scandal magazine. Tragically, Payton's life spiraled afterward, and she passed away far too young at age 30. Around the same time, and into the early 1950s, Bob had a more open and passionate four-year relationship with curvaceous actress and singer Marilyn Maxwell. They worked together on films like The Lemon Drop Kid and toured in USO shows. People on the Paramount lot even jokingly called her Mrs. Bob Hope because they seemed so close. Maxwell co-starred with him and joined him on the road. Their connection was hardly a secret among insiders. Perhaps the most significant and longest-lasting was with Welsh beauty queen Rosemary Franklin. In 1961, Bob crowned her Miss World. Smitten, he took the young woman, then barely out of her teens, on his Christmas USO trip to the Arctic that same year. He supported her move to Los Angeles, helped her pursue acting, even giving her a small role in his 1965 film, I'll Take Sweden. And according to those close to him, the on and off affair continued for nearly 30 years. Friends said Bob once called her the great love of his life. Sadly, like some of the others, Rosemary's later years were difficult, and she passed away in 2000. There were others over the decades, including a fairly open affair with his publicity staff member Ursula Halloran in the late 1950s, and even in his 80s and 90s, a relationship with writer Sandy Vinger that ended in a 1994 breach of contract lawsuit. Vinger claimed Bob had promised to support her for life. The matter was settled out of court. Dolores knew. As a devout Catholic and strong-willed woman, she was almost certainly aware of many of these indiscretions. It caused her deep pain and brought their marriage to the brink of divorce more than once. Close friends said she toughed it out, viewing Bob's weakness for women as something she had to accept if she wanted to keep the family together. Bob himself once reflected with surprising honesty, "I'm no angel. I've known very few angels." Yet, through all the shadows, they stayed together. They raised Linda, Tony, Nora, and Kelly as a family. Dolores remained his steadfast partner, supporting his career, managing their home, and standing beside him through decades of tours, specials, and public acclaim. Bob was a master at protecting his squeaky clean public image. No explosive scandal ever broke wide open to damage his career. The infidelity remained largely behind closed doors, a constant, quiet shadow over an otherwise extraordinary life of generosity, patriotism, and laughter. Hope received more than 2,000 honors and awards in his lifetime, including 5 honorary Academy Awards, a Presidential Medal of Freedom, and countless others for entertainment and humanitarian work. He wrote books, invested wisely, and stayed active well into old age. He retired from public life around 1998 as his health declined. On July 27, 2003, just 2 months after quietly celebrating his 100th birthday, Bob Hope died of pneumonia at his longtime home in Toluca Lake, California. His family was by his side. He left behind a career that spanned nearly 80 years, touching vaudeville, radio, film, TV, and live performance like few ever have. Bob Hope didn't just tell jokes. He delivered laughter like a public service. Through wars, changing times, and shifting tastes in comedy, he kept it light, timely, and generous. He made millions smile when they needed it most, whether on a Hollywood soundstage or a dusty airfield halfway around the world. In the end, the kid from Cleveland who started with a Chaplin impression became one of the most beloved entertainers America ever had. Thanks for the memories indeed.